How's it going? We've got a Stihl HT 75 pole saw in for repair today. However, this will also apply to your Stihl 75, 85, weed eaters, other pole saws, whatnot. But we're going to do the carburetor, the fuel lines, just redo the fuel system, get it back running like new again. Pop your air filter off. All right, these are two 8mm nuts. We want to zip those out. All right, got our 8mm nuts off. Now this is going to come off. We're going to pull this off. All right, now we're going to remove our fuel lines. If you look down here in your tank, you're going to have that line there in the back. I use me like a coat hanger. I'm going to reach in there, pull that out, pull my fuel filter off, and then I'm just going to jerk these lines out of there. All right, these are your tank grommets. This one came out upon removal of my fuel line, but make sure to just pop those out because we're going to replace those. Don't skip on these, because if you don't replace these, when you turn your tank sideways, they'll leak on you. Now I'm going to pull my cover off. These are T30 Torx bits. You got one here, and then this one, and I think that's it. I'll let you know if there's more. I think it's just those two. Yep, it's just those two. Give it a little knock, comes right off. Look at that. All right, now we're ready to pull our carburetor. All you lack now is this throttle cable right here. Give me just a second. I was trying to find a better way to do it one-handed, but it just ain't gonna happen. You've got that little that little keeper right there. What you'll do is you'll just push that up with your finger, and then push that down, it comes right out, and then we are ready to go to the next step. All right, make sure that your kit comes with these tank grommets. Mine did not. So the most important things here is going to be your intake gasket and these grommets. Just make sure your kit comes with these grommets. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and reinstall these grommets, do my fuel line, and then we'll go from there. All right, I like to spray them down with a little WD-40, and then they just kind of push in there. This one's always a little tighter. That hole's a little tighter. You might have to give it some help with a screwdriver. That one went on in. But now I'm gonna start running my fuel line. All right, the kit comes with this black rubber fuel line, and I like it. I've not had any trouble out of this kind. Now the yellow, I have had trouble with it. It seems like after a couple days almost, it gets hard as a rock, but this stuff has done good. What you want to do is cut you an angle on it like that, spray it with WD-40. Don't be mean, give it some help, give it some WD-40, and then you want to start it on this side, and then you'll be able to reach in and grab it. But I'm going to have to add some more angle to that so it'll go down in there further and I can grab it from the inside. Looky there, something like that is what you're going to need. And I'm actually going to put this one on this side, and I'm going to let this one be my purge line, the line that just dumps the fuel back in there. So I'm going to push this in the rest of the way, and then I'm going to reach in there with some pliers, some long pliers, and grab it and pull it through. All right, you see it? You see it right there? Now we're going to reach in there and grab it. Just give it a little bit of pressure. Don't yank on it and break it. All right, just pull it out about like so, and then get your cutters and cut that back off flush, and then I'm going to pull it back through the tank from this side. All right, I'm going to pull it back up, and what I want is I want about that much sticking into the tank. Personally, I do not like this line, the purge line, the dump line, to be sitting in the fuel, because that's more pressure on the bubble that you're having to work against that. So I'm going to cut it right there, and then I'm going to pull it through till I have about that much sticking out, 3/4 to an inch of material. All right, I got about that much hanging down in there. Okay, I know my line is this purge line is going to hook up around in here, and I got all this slack, so I'm going to cut it about right here. Hold on, I'll show you how much that is. So I'm gonna let I know that's way overkill, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. All right, so now I'm going to start working on my line, the pickup line. This is the line that your fuel filter is going to be on. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut me a good angle on this, push it in, reach through, grab it, pull it back through, put my fuel filter on it, put it back in, etc., etc. All right, I got my line pulled back through. I'm going to cut it here and then stick my new fuel filter in it. All right, I got my new fuel filter on. When you're putting in a fuel filter on these things, all you got to worry about is this needs to be resting at the bottom of the tank. All right, so I'm gonna stick that in there, and might take my coat hanger, might have to finagle it around. Just be sure that it is sitting at the bottom of the tank. I've got a little too much slack in there, making it do some funky curving, so I'm gonna pull some of that out, and I can tell it is sitting at the bottom of the tank, so we're good to go. And I've got all this slack, so I ain't got to worry about my having enough fuel line. So now I'm going to put my new intake gasket on, slide my carburetor on, hook up my throttle cable, hook up the lines, and then we're ready to go. All right, slid my intake gasket on. It's time for my carburetor. Now we're going to do our throttle linkage. All right, make sure this linkage, you know, it's got to run in that track. All right, I'm not even going to try to do this one-handed and y'all make fun of me. But what you want to do is take one hand, push this up, and then take your other hand and feed it through that slot. Just so you know, one side is flat, the other side is rounded. That rounded side goes on bottom, and that's where that little keeper goes in. Now I'm having a little bit of issue with my throttle. When I pull the trigger, it stops right there instead of going on down. You can't have that, and the issue on this one is actually in the trigger. These things right here give so much trouble, the little safeties. I'm gonna, and usually this works, take that WD-40 and just spray the mess out of it, let it get in there real good, because what it's doing is it's hanging up right there due to this actually. So let me try that real quick. All right, got that took care of. Now we're ready to hook up our fuel lines. Remember, we put our purge line on this side, our dump line, and then we put our pickup line, the one with the filter, on this side. Your purge line, the dump line, the line that does not have the fuel filter on it, goes to this top pipe, and then obviously your pickup goes on here. So I'm going to trim these lines and get them hooked up. All right, got my lines hooked up. Just a little tip. If you will use some WD-40 on these pipes, it'll make it a lot easier for your lines to, and I know you're probably thinking, man, this guy uses a lot of WD-40. If you've got WD-40, a good local church, and Jesus Christ, there is nothing that you cannot do. Put some WD-40 on there. It'll make it a lot easier for those to slide up. Now we're ready to reinstall our air filter assembly, crank it up, see what it's going to do. All right, got my air filter assembly installed. Got it fueled up. Prime it up, let's see what it's going to do. Oh. All right, needs a little adjusting, but it's going to run. I'm actually going to do another video. I've had people asking me to do videos on how to adjust the weed eater carburetors. I think I'm going to use this because it's the same concept: weed eater, pole saw, chainsaw, it's all the same thing. So anyways, hope this helped. Have a blessed day.